Raven, baby.
I do always, I never understood. I mean, I think we talked about it when we talked about the goat throat, but I think part of the reason they get so much shit is because their eyes. But I don't know what was. How did the devil get in on the goat thing?
You said goat throat. I thought Nancy Reagan.
No, we don't remember. We talked about. He showed a video of Nessie's throat, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I didn't know they had teeth in their throat, like garbage disposals, and it freaked me out. But I don't know the association with the devil.
I thought it was the.
Well, I don't ever think it. I think that was just Christianity taking over and fucking saying, "Oh, this religion, this religion of vitality and whatever virility and the goat with Pan was like this musician, this all kind of what would you call it, carnal pleasures and what have you. I'm saying that were celebrated in a good way. It wasn't necessarily a bad thing until Christianity decided that we weren't supposed to have those types of feelings anymore. So I think it's like anything else. The Christians ruined it.
They do know how to put a wet blanket on a party dog. I tell you what. Not all of them, but a lot of them. But
that's a good majority of them. Yeah.
So it was it. Then what does the goat represent? Were people fucking the goats? Is that like?
Not people were fucking the goats, but we think about, like Pan was. He was a what would you call it? Like a trickster, like a jokester. And he was half human, half goat. And he was, he'd like play his flute and fuck. They were horny. They're horny, so it's like this carnal. Thing, and a lot of these things, especially when they're rooted in like seasons, you see a lot of these horned goat things in a type of spring, and
when everybody's supposed to be procreating, and then they were like, "That's the devil."
Right, the devil does that kind of stuff. The devil has sex and believes in carnal lusts and things like that. I'm like, God says you're going to heaven, so you don't need to do those things. It said you don't have to have pleasure, you don't have to have these things. You can just work, hoard wealth. You know what I'm saying? Get the prosperity, so you don't need all those things.
Yeah, be a dragon, fuck the gold, or sleep on it, or whatever the dragons did.
Yeah. Yeah, dragons, for sure.
Well, you can't be like Pan and be like, he's real, half man, half goat, and then look at me like I'm crazy when I say dragons. Come on now.
I just don't know anything really about dragons.
Oh, that's just like the whole thing. They usually like sleep on a pile of gold and stuff. That was always why the knights were always trying to like find their lair. And I mean, aside from them attacking their town and stuff like that, but they would like, dragons would always like have a huge amount of gold and stuff that they would sleep on. They would just sleep on it, which seems uncomfortable.
It does seem uncomfortable. Did people worship dragons? Was that a thing? Or was dragons just mythological creature that was like, because Pan is a deity, like it's more of a symbolic thing.
No, I think dragons were a mythical creature.
Just mythical, just a story. What was it that they,
what was what?
People believing in dragons, but like I can definitely see that at some point maybe there were I mean, we have crocodiles, we have sharks. Sharks are older than trees.
Mm-hmm.
I can have people with some say, well, yeah, we have we were living here in a time of dragons. Dragons were still here. We just called them dinosaurs. They were just dinosaurs. They weren't really.
Yeah, I think that was what dragons were. I mean, especially if they're talking about flying ones. It was probably, I think after the big lava, the thing that killed them all. I think there were still some that made it, and then with that, I think that's where you get these stories, especially the ones that flew around and they breathed fire, all this other shit. I mean, I think you start embellishing as the story gets passed on from generation to generation, much like a fish story. The fish gets slightly bigger and bigger, But I think probably, I mean, that's the theory behind the unicorn, is that it was a narwhal horn, or I guess technically it's like a big tooth. It's just made out of the same thing your teeth are made out of. And it was found and like brought to a queen, and then that was like when there was like a theory of unicorns, and they were like, "Oh, this is a unicorn horn." If you're watching on YouTube, it looks like somebody is fucking you. Like, it looks like you took this podcast in the middle of having sex. That's the way it's moving.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
You spit
It
in
was
my
just
goat.
it was just rhythmic. Speaking of goats. Hi, Nessie. But yeah, I think the narwhal was that's the only thing that they can come up with were if as far as unicorns were real.
Anyway,
But I mean, I do
anyway,
think some of the I could get behind an animal being real that went extinct. I mean, like, so many things have. The dodo bird. I remember everybody talking about the dodo bird when I was a kid.
have you seen that one that one video? It's like the video of the last. I think it's like the Tasmanian tiger or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the last one to ever live. And it's like in a cage, and it looks all fucking crazy, and it's just like skits, and I just it's every once in a while it'll show up on my Instagram feed, and like, oh, it makes me feel awful. It's the last one. Yeah, it's terrible.
Do they call them Tasmanian because they're always nuts? I remember like the Tasmanian devil. That's what they rate. The Looney Tunes character on. They're always like, is everything Tasmanian nuts? Is that what it is? Is it like all Tasmanian versions of whatever?
I don't know about that. I just know. I don't know about that. I just know that they come from Tasmania, and this was like the last one of its.
Is it just
the
because
very
mania
last
is in the name? Is that why they're
I don't know. It was the last of its breed. It was the very last one. Like, it was the last.
You don't think
one.
you'd be on edge if you were the last one of your kind?
100%. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it has anything to do with being Tasmanian. I think it has something to do with being the last of it, the very last of its kind. It's such a weird thing to see the very last of that,
Species.
animal
Yeah.
species. Yeah, the very last of it. Just, it's fucking crazy. It's crazy. You should see it. It's just, oh my God. Yeah, I would totally be. What do you do? What do you do? It's like, oh, do you know this consciously? Does the animal know it consciously? Does it
or maybe it could just sense it. You know how like sometimes like animals will know when it's the time or whatever. Like whenever there's like an animal that's sick or something like that, the other animals will come and like comfort it and stuff like that. Like it'll just know that it's.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, I think maybe it's that. Maybe it just kind of knows.
Yeah, it's somewhere deep in its. I mean, how long had it been alone and caged and like all that? That's. Oh, it's crazy. What a crazy thought.
I mean, I know that we know that the telepathy lady is a quack, but I think there is something to be said about as far as the animal side goes. You know, there's always if you have a camera in your house where you can see your pets and stuff like that, they always know when somebody is coming home or when somebody is close to home. Shit like that. I don't know if it's like and not even necessarily a time thing, but I mean that's the part of it. If that dumb bitch, she was trying to like project it onto humans, and specifically ones that aren't well equipped to defend themselves with this stuff being projected onto them. But at the same time, I do think maybe animals communicate with some sort of like, I don't know, ESPN or whatever it is.
Yeah, maybe, man. I mean, fuck. If we, it's so crazy to think that we're like, we probably are too, but we're just so disconnected.
Yeah, we ignore it.
Yeah, we wouldn't know because we're just fucking pummeled with like everything else. You know what I mean? That the actual, oh my God, the actual, like, we wouldn't be able to, our fine-tuned senses, you know what I'm saying, would be
yeah, I suppose that's what intuition was like being coined as. Well, what's up, everybody? You kind of got us in mid-convo. I don't know if Drew is going to join us today, but if he doesn't, hi, I hope you're doing well. Did you have anything cool happen this week, Deej?
No, not really. Not that I can think of. It's mainly just been taking care of Ness. Just doing that.
A little caretaker action. You should wear the little nurse outfit and stuff for Dre.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe maybe.
Oh, there he is. Let's see what he's saying.
Did you do anything cool?
I went to a live wrestling pay-per-view.
I know, man.
Which was pretty fun. Where do you stand on the pro wrestling barometer? Did you ever watch it when you were a kid?
Nah, it's just one of those things. I'm glad people like it, and some people like.
Mm-hmm.
I have no feelings for it. Yeah, either way.
Yeah. I just remember my sister was really into it when I was a kid, so that was my introduction to it. She liked it. I don't know if I think she liked it because it was just a bunch of, burly men rolling around. So I think that she kind of liked it because it was like, I don't know. But, maybe that's why she got into the harder stuff later on. But for the longest time, I was put off by it. Because again, to me, it was just reality television before. That's what we were coining it as, theater. But I didn't mind. I mean, I was indifferent about it. I watched it then, and then there was like a time in high school I jumped back into it, and then I jumped back out of it. But I mean, I'm not committal to any really kind of entertainment other than stand up, and I don't even watch that like that. I'm just not a big. I never have been. But I feel the same way about pro wrestling that I do about just sporting events in general. I like to see them live more than anything, but I don't follow any of them enough to be considered a fan.
Sure.
But I do notice that boys get real excited if there's a chick that likes it. But it's just what do they call it? The Real Housewives for boys. And because which one are you? And so from that aspect of it, I think it's silly and fun. But at the end of the day, it's just more entertainment, and I'm not against that.
Sure.
But I did like that. I was with a bunch of comedians, and Leslie Jones was there in the same section as us, and she had never seen a live wrestling match, and just having somebody that boisterous and delightful taking something in like that is always just really adds to the experience.
Yeah.
But it was real fun. A lot of man meets. I'm talking about AEW Revolution, I think is what it's called. I do think all the I don't know. What I think my issue is I think a lot of times for everyone to know that it's theater, it does take itself a little seriously sometimes. But other than that, but I think that, I mean, I could say the same thing about fucking plenty of I think plenty of entertainers. So, you know, as even acting being pretend, and but people committing to like starving themselves to do it. So like, all right, well, you're really committing to the bit. So I do appreciate people that commit to a bit in any regard, except when we're talking about like the Ann Coulters of the world and shit like that. Like people who commit to, you know, being trash.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love a commitment to a bit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I agree.
So even when you were a kid, you weren't in the like the Macho Man era. Your pops was never into any of that shit. No.
Well,
Cool.
I mean, I guess everybody knew who he was and everything,
Sure.
but like, he knew who he was and everything, and I guess like I had some friends who were into it a lot more, but yeah, it's never really my speed or anything. Not my thing. Not my thing.
Mm.
Yeah, man. I do think it's weird. Like, fandom is weird.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's reminded me of I see people all the time get like, is it really Real Housewives? Like, so the reality show, the show is one thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? But like, and then people watch the show for entertainment, but then they develop these parasocial relationships with these people.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes it outside of the entertainment realm.
Right.
And then they're super like into their personal lives, their whatever, what they do outside of the thing. And it's just, it's such a wild.
Yeah, there's like a switch that flips where it goes from being entertained to now being voyeuristic and like wanting to go in, you know, knowing everything about them and stuff like that. And I've never been that way about anything, even stand up. I've never, I guess maybe that's it. I'm not a good fan of anything. Even music, I spend most of my days with music playing. I'm constantly looking for new artists to listen to. Like, I love music, but I'm never like looking up who they're married to. I've never been interested in where they went to high school. I don't give a shit. I like the work. I want to see the work. I mean, I'll watch a documentary. I've seen a documentary, like I watched a documentary about Miles Davis and stuff like that, and that was fascinating to me to see like his evolution of it, and you know, plenty of issue finding out that he beat the shit out of a couple women he was with, and that, like, all of that stuff. But I didn't, well, much, all of which I didn't know. But I was never like into anything as much to want to investigate, if that makes sense. And so I don't know if there's maybe that just creates another layer of joy, and like, you know, people are constantly looking for ways to connect, or looking for connection in general. So maybe that's like their way of doing it. But that's like when I had a bunch of dudes DM me that were like, I didn't know you were into wrestling, and I was like, no, I like the shows, but I'm not a fan. I don't want to, like, you know, I'm not gonna. I would aggravate if you want, because this kid wanted me to do his wrestling podcast, and I was like, I would just upset everybody that listens, because I don't give a fuck enough to make all of the references that would make you feel like we are the same. So,
right.
But have you ever had anybody be like that about you? Like wanting, like trying to be invasive, going from being entertained to wanting to do that to you personally?
No, I have people. I constantly have people, and I if you're listening to this and you heard it, I'm not saying a bad thing. I constantly have people wanting to discuss like something that I said on here, whether it be like a political stance or like a conspiracy or something like that, and like I constantly have that, but not something, and I love it. I love it, even though I don't have any answers. You know what I'm saying? I don't fucking know. It always ends up, like, yeah, that's a great point, and I don't, or that's fine, whatever you feel like, but I feel like I get that part. Like I think people think I might know something or something sometimes, but I don't think anybody. I've never had that. I've never had that. I've never, and I don't ever want to. And that's.
I wonder why do you think it's bad? I mean, I wonder if I don't know.
Yeah,
I wonder if people get something out of it. Like, if I'm missing out on something, on being a fan of something, of liking something externally so much.
I don't. I think that there's a good, healthy fandom, and then I think that what does fandom come from? Does it come from fanatic? Because there's those too.
Sure.
We're just listening to this Behind the Bastards are doing like a series on the Zizian cult, which is a whole thing, and they were like, so basically it's anyway, you can listen to the episode, they can explain it to you better, but they have it like on this Harry Potter, it came from, based on this like Harry Potter fan fiction, right? And like, so it's wild that, like, to me, that people get so upset and bent up over, like, these made up characters that they can, you know what I mean? And then get mad, like, oh, what are they going to make the Harry Potter guy a black guy? And like, people are like, oh, fucking, that's a travesty to the fucking lore of the fucking
oh, they're like, you made up the thing wrong about the made up thing, that, like,
right, you did the wrong thing, whether it be about like a black mermaid or like the person who, in the Marvel movies, you hear people fucking lose their goddamn mind. Well, the fucking Spider-Man in the third fucking series didn't have the. It's like, man, goddamn, dude, chill the fuck out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's my other part with it, is I never wanted to get to, because I was explaining this to somebody else. I was like, I would never want to get so into anything that now I'm criticizing it. Well, I don't. I mean, you could watch things and like it or not like it, but when you start getting to, like, for example, with the wrestling, like, I don't want to be like, well, I don't like that, like. So, I hang out with a group of guys that watch it all the time, and the reason I compare it to Real Housewives is because there's constantly commenting on everybody's appearance. Oh, I don't know about this outfit. This is like, and I don't ever, and maybe there's a joy in being catty if you don't have like people in your life that you get to playfully hate on or whatever. Or maybe there's something to it like that. I don't know, but but I don't want to sit there and be like, oh, well, I'd never want to have to push my glasses up at it. And so I think I only like to enjoy things enough to the point where then I'm not like saying this is, or criticizing the world or whatever, because I kind of like the creativity. I like when people go out of the box and think, I've done too many fucking hard drugs. I mean, I've done too many mushrooms for me to not be like, okay, well, what if Spider-Man did do this and have all of these offshoots? And I mean, it's the same thing when there were like a bunch of people were bitching that Marvel went woke, and it's just like, no, from the origin of it has always been that. I'm sorry you just never understood it when you were a child. But it's like, even from the original DC, fucking Superman was fighting Nazis. I mean, come on. Like, all of these things, it was, that was the whole thing about I mean, part of the reason why X-Men 97 resonated so well with that X-Men the animated series and 97 resonated so much with people of color was because it felt the same way. You were born this way, and then now everybody's hating on you for it. Now people think you need to be alienated and executed in the most extreme cases. All of that shit has been woke. It's never been not woke.
Yeah.
And by the tone, I just mean like socially competent, because that word gets thrown around with it not being defined. But
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I wish sometimes I wish, because I feel it seems like people get something out of it. But maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's to have those emotional responses to things that are the thing that my dumb brain just isn't fascinated by.
Or if it's a thing of like comfort, like, I mean, and I'm just gonna be straight up here. Like, I don't even care. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do not care. I think it's weird. I think it's a weird response, especially for like adults to have. You know what I mean? Like, to be so altruistic about like perfect example of like, I love the Dune movies,
Mm-hmm.
but I also love the Dune books,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not the same.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the same. The third one's gonna be way off, and like, even when Frank Herbert died and his son picked up, I liked all that.
Mm-hmm.
I just like it. Now, I hated the HBO show, but that's for a totally different reason.
Why did you hate the HBO
like
show?
Shit. It just looked like shit.
Oh,
It just looked
okay.
like absolute shit. For whatever reason, they want to do this thing. They want to put out stuff, and it's like so much green screen that just has no depth to it.
Yeah.
And it just looked like shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I don't know, it's just trash. But anyways, like, you know, you hear these people, they want this purity. They want everything to be so fucking pure and fucking sanitized, or like, you know, curated to their specific. And it's just that part that's the part that just doesn't make any sense to me.
I have this just popped into my head as a theory off of that. I was like, do you think because religion is becoming less and less significant that it's just being replaced by this, like, you know, like, for example, like everybody wanting the Marvel world to go a specific way, and you're talking about being altruistic, like I wonder if it's a response to not having the concept of God in one's life, that, you know, like, if people who are used to something like that, if they grew up with something like that, having something that is like, I don't know, to fill the hole in their soul. And that's usually what people use God for. And maybe so. I mean, granted, I haven't thought this all out. This thought just came into my head. But with the absence of that, using that and putting these things up on pedestals like you would the concept of God, etc., and then it meaning more than it should just to entertain you.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm not against godlessness. Your godlessness leads to your unhappiness. You fucking filthy, dirty heathen. Stop looking for the holy. Goddamn,
or just treating it that way. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying, like,
you're in the slop bucket looking for something immaculate. You fucking disgusting pigs. You uncultured swine. Look, dude, I mean, like, I don't know, maybe it is, but I think mainly what it is like somebody felt something when they were a kid, and they're trying to, it's like that heroin addict that gets that first hit, and then they're always
chasing it forever.
You're chasing it forever. And then you become like, you know, you become a goddamn snob about it, you know, and shit's like, I don't know. I also have bad taste. Look, dude, I got bad taste in movies. Like, I fucking, you know, I fucking the movies that I really love, like, are some of the worst. Like people, I won't even, it's just all blood and gore and weird robots or like whatever. I can watch like fucking
Critters.
1950s.
That's so Critters
I love
is so
Critters.
bad, but I have such a fond memory of it because it was probably like a Blockbuster rental that I finally was able to
Sure.
watch.
Sure. All that stuff that came from like Full Moon. Like there's like those places like the vampire ones and like the dude, what's that shit called? Bloodstone? I don't know. But like but yeah, dude, I love that shit. I mean, I fucking I'd give me that before whatever Oscar fucking just Chopping Mall. Oh my God. I've seen it a million times. I fucking love it, dude. I love it.
I also think that's like a generational thing in that because so much change has happened in our lifetime. I think a lot of times that's part of the reason why a lot of people go back to nostalgia to remember a time when things weren't overwhelming, when you weren't being bombarded as much, like all of that. I think there's something to be said about being reminiscent of like calm and quiet, or a time when you remember being joyful or remember, you know what I'm talking about?
I guess so, but also I really like it when somebody cuts somebody's arm off and there's like, it looks cool.
Yeah.
And somebody's face melts and I like, it's there's that part of it. I mean, I don't know. I love Terrifier. I love Hatchet. I love those because they take away from the CGI. There's not any of that. It's not any of that weird PG-13 horror that we went through with like The Grudge and all that stuff, where there's like, it's all kind of like, computer, whatever. And not to say that those weren't creepy for a minute, but then they just ran them down our throats like every fucking other horror. Anyways, what I'm saying is I like special effects.
Yeah. Well, there's also like, I remember being even just like the rats from fucking Princess Bride, like they were so fucking gnarly looking.
Yes, of course. There you go again. Yeah, dude. Fucking everything.
There's no CG. Yes. It's just too smooth. There's no way that you're gonna get that fucking gnarliness from
fucking RoboCop.
Yeah.
Man. RoboCop is so awesome. The fucking stop motion. I mean, RoboCop by itself, okay? Look, dude, you're just not gonna get a better movie as far as like the storyline, the message behind it was just I think the kids should watch it. I think, listen, I was thinking about things that you couldn't make anymore. Anyway, RoboCop was a great movie. Thinking about things that you couldn't make anymore, and I don't think that you could make, like the RoboCop that they redid. Was not just RoboCop in the sense that like it was bad in like the graphics and the effects of it, because you need that stop motion and you need a guy getting his dick shot and all that stuff. But like fucking you need a lot more. You need that storyline. You needed the commercials, the TV with the TV, you need all these different things that added into it. I was thinking about this, like what are things you could not make anymore? And we were talking about this last week. And it's definitely the number one show that I believe, or piece of media that you could not make in today's atmosphere is the Dukes of Hazzard. You could not make that. You would have like the woke people mad about the Confederate flag, and then you would have the like anti-woke people, the conservative people, fucking crying about they're running from the cops and goddamn doing fucking, illegal stuff, fighting the police and shit like that. They'd have a fucking shit fit. You had a goddamn show on there about goddamn running from the law and goddamn all that stuff. They'd lose their minds.
I mean, I don't know. There's plenty of like heist movies. I think you could still get away with stealing shit and stuff like that. Like those things still exist.
From the law, they were running. They were all the time busting Boss Hogg. The cops were like running like a fucking sleazy fucking lottery thing on his nursing home people. I mean, Boss Hogg, the police were the bad guys.
Yeah.
The police was the bad guys.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole thing. And they had this strong family values. I'm telling you, man, ever since they goddamn took Dukes of Hazzard off the goddamn TV. Now, all these people are a bunch of bootlickers, right? We got the goddamn president doing QVC for the shittiest looking fucking car that's ever been. That's what fucking happened. Got rid of fucking goddamn Dukes of Hazzard and got 9 seasons of Cops. You fucking bastards. That's why I'm against the woke agenda.
Is Cops woke? I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. You took away Dukes of Hazzard, where the cops were the bad guys, and then you got fucking 9 seasons of the worst television that's ever been.
Yes, it's just watching people get arrested over and over again.
Oh God, it's fucking awful. And the story behind Cops, I don't know if anybody's ever heard it. You know, there's been a couple of podcasts out there about it, but it's
I don't know anything about it. What is it?
They're just basically people were like, you know, if you sign this, you won't go to jail or whatever. If you say that there's a lot of exploitation on both sides. People, so
it's kind of like how Jerry Springer is, where like if you fight on Jerry Springer, technically you'll go to jail, but the show will bail you out.
It was way more exploitive than that, but I don't remember exactly what it was. But there's podcasts about it out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a podcast about Gerald Ford that everybody should check out. Probably one of the best podcasts I've ever listened to. Shouts out to Fourth Reich Archaeology. It's like a fire podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's like honestly, if they're really trying, like they want to ban books and shit like that, but I felt like there are way more movies that were more impactful to me. I read a bunch of books, and I've read 1984. I've read all these books, but I feel like there is a lot of other forms of media that were just, if not more, impactful in that same way. And I feel like RoboCop. I mean, the other thing with Dukes of Hazzard is it was still whimsical. There was still whimsy about it. It wasn't heavy-handed, and so much that if you have any kind of commentary like that, it has to be heavy-handed now. You can't just be flippant or silly about it because everything is so serious. You have to be serious. You can't joke about that. It's very serious. And I get the situation maybe is more serious now than it was then, but maybe not. I don't remember. Again, I was a fucking child.
Like in the 80s?
Yeah.
When they were like, it's always been bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, but we're capable of being funny about, like, not funny, but just silly about awful things. And
I mean, they would run from Boss Hog and catch them in some sort of fucking scam.
Mm-hmm.
They would catch the police, and the people don't remember or have never had the honor, the luxury, the privilege to see an episode of the Duke Boys.
Mm-hmm.
They would be out there. They would catch the Boss Hog and them in a scam, but they'd be running their moonshine. They had Uncle Jesse there. Oh, fantastic! You know what I'm saying? In one episode, you know what I'm saying, they'd be doing that, but then in the next episode, they'd find a leprechaun. You know what I'm saying? And then fucking some crazy shit. It was awesome. It was a great show.
Because there is plenty of shows that where they're talking about the corruption in the police and shit like that. But again, it's always very serious. It isn't
like The Wire.
Yeah, it's always very serious, and there's never any whimsy, and the bad guys usually win. I mean, that's like the whole anti-hero angle that they've been pushing like the last fucking decade is anti-hero and villains. Where it's just like these gray areas where they keep pushing, where it's just like, I mean, there's still nothing wrong with just having 5 people beating the shit out of the bad guys while having a good time.
Right.
And
that's the crazy thing about Batman. You start watching like Batman and shit, start listening to some of the shit that all the villains are saying. You're like, well,
yeah.
Yeah, probably, yeah, you're right. Actually, man, Batman's kind of a dick.
Yeah.
Like this is you guys.
He's a billionaire nepo baby. Fuck Batman, dude.
Yeah, like all these people are like so right. The Joker, like he's like so crazy. you start listening to that shit. Oh man, that's crazy.
But I think
But,
I think it's like they're always like, I mean, all these people who like these ideals. It's like, dismantling a system and shit like that. They're always seen as like mentally ill. It's always got to be a narcissist or a sociopath. It's like, it's not just those people that think about those things.
No, not at all.
That's
Not
what I
at
want to see.
all.
Bring back the Dukes of Hazzard. Change the flag. Put the
Yeah.
rainbow flag on the cover of it. That's what it is. You put the rainbow flag on the cover of it instead of the...
Well, my whole thing was like, and this is just from me,
Yeah.
who lived in a battlefield, and it goes to the mountain. Like, there's no end to that flag that you're seeing. Where then I understand that it's been adopted in a way.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But like, I don't know who you're trying to hide the car from. Not saying that the flag should be there. I mean, if anything, it should be, man, what should be on top of the Dukes of Hazzard car? What should be on the top of there?
I don't know. A decapitated pig.
No, a red tree or something. Like a stencil of a wizard or something. It should have, like, you could make the car.
Oh yeah,
like,
put some
where it's
prog
got
rock
one of those
vibes
cool,
in
like,
there.
yeah, like a wizard riding on a bear, and there's like some lady, like witch lady, with like a fucking cool ass goddamn, like one of those staffs
Yeah.
with like fucking light coming out all over, and it's like you can brand it up. You don't need a flag. Nobody needs a flag.
I know.
Nobody needs a fucking country. Nobody needs a flag. These things are stupid. So dumb. It's so dumb. I fucking listen to somebody talking about fucking being a patriot. It's a friend of mine. What I'm gonna say. Anyway, so and it's just weird. It's like, dude, like, you can love your community. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You can love your community. It's perfectly fine. Dude, love the fucking shit out of the people in your community and help your community, right? But that doesn't mean you have to, like, obey it. That doesn't demand your servitude for a government that doesn't give any fucks about you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that's the whole thing is, like, they would get more support if they were providing anything and and at this point gutting everything that was being provided. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like in other countries where the government is providing universal health care, where the government is providing aid, where the government, you know what I'm saying? Then you will get more people who are proud of their country enough to be like that. But when you're in a country that's not like that at all, the fact that you still seek that out and the fact that there's still people in this country that feel that way is wild to me.
Wild, yeah.
Especially like people that have served this country get the biggest shaft. So even they're disenchanted by this state of things, or by the government in general.
Yeah, I think you can love your people without loving your government. And I think, and wanting things, and like, I think that's like, that's something that's, people have the same weird, like, parasocial relationships they have with, like, and I'm not talking about anybody in particular, but people have that with, like, parties, with, like, political parties, political people. Like, it's weird. It's fucking weird. Stop that, y'all. Stop doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, it just seems like, all right. It just seems like an unnecessary allegiance. Actually, you know what it goes back to? It goes back to fandom. It goes back to fandom.
Right. Like, you're a fan of this thing.
How could you be a fan of this fucking country?
Yeah, how could you? How could you?
If you wanted to have pride, you got to have something to be proud of. God damn it. We haven't done anything to be proud of.
Nothing, dude. Nothing. They haven't done shit for you. They haven't done shit for you.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, just because you got 9 different types of fucking goddamn Chex Mix that you can buy that you don't need, that's the land, we can't even the crap we're proud about, we can't even sell to other countries because it's such poisonous shit. It's crazy, dude. It's wild. It's wild, but whatever. It's cool. It's fine.
Whatever, it's cool.
It's freedom. All right. You don't like it? Get out. Get out of here, you big party pooper.
Dude, I saw a sad thing the other day that said that, like, in comparison from now to like I think it was medieval times, but we take less time off than the actual peasants did.
Nice. How uplifting. Yeah. Yeah. Dude, there will definitely be a time when we're like, man, I sure just wish I had a job at the old goddamn steel mill or somewhere, I could work. I wasn't hooked up to this brain gulag.
Yeah.
God.
Or at least we were making something, Or like,
yeah, at least we were making something.
Or they were, what was the old thing? It was like the stones, people just tink, 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 banging on the stones and shit.
Yeah. Making them a spear and shit. Mess out in the woods, making a spear. What the fuck you up to? You ain't making spears, you ain't shit. You ain't out here grinding spears. So fucked up. So fucked up. 40 hours a day on spear detail. Yeah, I could do it. I could do it. Yeah, actually, that sounds fun, actually, to be honest with you.
Well, then I feel like then it becomes like a point of pride, like how good you can do it and stuff like that. Like initially, I'm certain once you get over like, fuck, I don't want to do this. Once you get over that, which might take a few years, but once you get over that part, then you start being like, well, I'm going to make fucking really good spears.
Like, yeah, and you're putting out like fucking top quality fucking spears.
Yeah.
It's got people are coming to you for your spears.
No. I only get my spears from one place.
Yeah. Oh, a different game then, ain't it?
Yeah.
You got your feathers on that shit. You got your feathers on it just right. You got your fucking
You start having your little signature. There's like a signature spear that you do.
Yeah. Dude, I was thinking about, speaking of making spears and shit, I was thinking about like my apocalypse, like my like, okay, they everybody's nuked, we're all fucking, or something terrible happens or whatever, you end up surviving for whatever awful reason that you're still alive during that. I'm sorry if you make it, but like what my scenario is, and it's like, I want to be like the Han Solo of Appalachia, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be smuggling like antibiotics and shit like that up through the fucking hills, dude. I want like a robot dog. It'd be like, I have a Sasquatch, you know what I'm saying? It'd be me, my Sasquatch buddy. He would have the tater cannon. He'd be shooting taters at drones, knocking drones out of the fucking sky with the tater cannon. I'd be driving the robot dog. We'd be dropping off like antibiotics and like penicillin to like sick fucking villages out in the fucking mountains. Dude, that's going to be my job. I'm signing. That's what I'm applying for.
Yeah.
You got my application then.
Yeah. I mean, what else are you going to do? I feel like you would have to do something to help. What are you going to fight? I suppose, but if it's aftermath, then it's like survival.
It's more of a defensive mode you're in.
Yeah,
I'm not joining no fucking like cannibal gang. I know that off the top.
Yeah,
count me. I'm not doing that. I'm not eating nobody.
Yeah,
ain't no way.
Yeah, I mean, there's still. Well, I mean, depending, I was going to say, there's still plenty of animals for a while. But
with all the water's poisoned and all that stuff, I don't know how it's going to work. We'll be eating cockroaches. We'll be eating
bugs. Do you? I mean, I remember when I was a kid how they were like, when you went to the science center, that you'd get like a chocolate covered cricket or something like that. Listen, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Or what
Not
was the other
bad.
one? Mealworms or some shit?
Mealworm ants. They have the chocolate ants.
Yeah. They were just preparing us. Who knew?
I could totally do that. I could totally do that. I've had corn chips before that were made out of ants. They weren't bad.
Yeah. The what's it called? The treats I give Jax, the puppy. The treats, he's not a puppy, he's a grown-ass man. He's like 9 years old. But the treats I give him to clean his teeth are made out of crickets.
Awesome.
Mm. But as far as roles, I mean, I've thought about this too. As far as roles in the apocalypse goes, I mean, yeah, I mean, smuggling is kind of a. That seems like when I played that. What's that game that is basically that where you like pay Nuketown? What's the name of that game? What is it called? Fallout. That's what it is.
No idea.
There's the video game Fallout where you're like people like there's like the bomb goes off in the 50s, but these rich people have these like capsules that are underground, and there's a bunch of people living in them, and then one of like they get it to the surface, and then there's all these different kinds of mutated people that live up on the surface that's incredibly radiated, and then there's a different way everybody trades with bottle caps, like that's like their monetary value for things. Because it's just representing whatever. And but yeah, I was like in these roles, it's definitely one, morale. I'm here for morale. I'm here to boost morale. I'm willing. Healing. That's definitely like in any kind of role playing or any of those things. I always any kind of like the video games where you have to pick if you're gonna be a tank or I'm always a healer. So it's probably, I imagine it's going to be in that field. I'm here to boost morale, stitch up a wound. I know how to sew decently, antiseptic. I can do all the basic stuff. And then, of course, stealing stuff for the greater good, naturally.
Naturally.
But yeah, I definitely am not I do always like to rock a rocket launcher, but it's always in defense.
You got to find a Sasquatch or something. You have to have a buddy that's going to do that.
Yeah.
And you have to have one buddy that's like good-hearted, not a murdering motherfucker, is just there to have your back.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like once the nukes drop, the Yetis will finally come out. You can probably like introduce it to like peanut butter and stuff like that, and then fucking,
Yeah.
be your bud.
Yeah, then he's like, you could pay me in peanut butter. So then you're constantly on a quest for peanut butter. Dude,
that'd be so rad. Swindler. That's another one that goes with smuggler as a swindler.
Yes.
So like you be out there swindling and smuggling.
I feel like that's the apocalyptic version of sales, is where you get someone. What can I do to get you into a can of motor oil today?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Oh, speaking of the White House lawn, that was a funny joke I heard about it, is like Trump is finally the 1980s car lot salesman that he's always been.
Wow. So pathetic, man.
Truly.
It's just fucking so pathetic. What a loser ass country, dude. Yeah.
Man, I saw there was these two women doing a makeup tutorial together, and one of them goes, when did you start wearing makeup? Was it before or after you were in the military? And she goes, I never served no ratchet ass, fat cat ass, piece of shit ass fucking problematic, systemic, racist ass fucking country. And then she was like, oh, well, I did. She's like, I signed the dotted line. And then the other woman goes, I'm so sorry. Thank you for your service. And I fell out, dude. I fell out. It made me laugh so hard. She had no idea. And then what she did, of course, she was embarrassed after she went so hard in the paint. But I mean, the other person was not. I mean, she was just like, yeah. I fought so you could have that fucking opinion. And I just wish way more people listen to veterans than like put words in their mouth. So many of them speak for them, and so many people speak for them, and it's just not the case. They're just always so wrong. More often than not, people go into the military because they're gonna get the fucking GI Bill to go to college for free. It's not
For sure.
usually.
For sure. I mean, nobody I've ever known that has served has been like has great stories to tell about it or feels great about it. You know what I mean?
Well,
Nobody.
I feel
Not
like
one person.
the further we get into the shit is the less likely you're gonna get people to sign up. I mean,
yeah, it all depends. I mean, I don't know.
it all depends on what. You think more people are gonna sign up for the military?
Depends on how hard it gets.
Oh, I guess that was the thing too. I was thinking, sorry, this is just reminding me of Fallout. There was like these big machine guys that were like the military. They had these big like these big mechanical dudes with a bunch of guns on them. But I guess that would technically be the military. But who would run it though? I don't know.
Rich people from their pods.
Oh, that's well. They were in that world. They're underground. They don't have any access to the above ground world at all. They have no idea. They're
So they're not controlling things from down there. They're just like in their own little weird.
They're in their own little weird world. Because if everything's decimated, who's gonna like? There's no. I mean, there's people. There's like rogue. Just criminals. The guy that Walter Goggins plays, like the dude with no nose. What are they called? They're called ghosts or something like that. People who were like partially like didn't die from the blast but were melted, kind of. I think they're called ghosts, but they're like, I mean, they're fucking badass. They don't die, or if they die, they don't die easy. Or yeah, I mean, if you could survive a nuclear blast and you're still around, you know what I'm saying? That seems pretty hardcore.
Yeah, man, you got some good genes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we should wrap it up there. What is your role?
Right.
What is your role, Gravy Babies? What's your role in the apocalypse? Let us know. Put it in the Discord. Join the Discord if you're not in the Discord. Remember, you have your conspiracy babies at the end of the month. Believe it was on the 28th of this month. And you guys going to keep it open, or did you come up with a theme for this month?
Oh, I think we're going to talk about Putin, even though, like, the more I look into it, I'm just going to let everybody, you know what? That's what it is. Is Putin a KGB agent?
Okay.
I'm going to let you make the decision.
Is Putin a KGB agent? I think it's a good premise. Now, do your own independent research and let us know your findings. Like at the next Conspiracy Babies. Well, lovely. Thank you guys so much for listening.
It's Putin. It's Trump. It's Trump. Sorry, I said it's Putin. It's Trump.
Yeah, I was going to say,
agent.
I thought Putin was a former KGB.
Yeah, he definitely was. He definitely was. That's 100% true.
Okay.
But it is Trump Agent Krasnov.
Is Trump Agent Krasnov? That's the next Conspiracy to Babies topic that I believe is March 28th, the last Friday of the month. So make sure you guys join the Discord, and also welcome all the new people to the Discord. It's a real vibe in there now. There's like a bunch of people in there. It's getting cute in there. Our cult's our community's getting off the ground. I'm digging it. Patreon.com/GravyBabyPod if you want to throw money at us so we can keep the studio up, pay for producer Mark. And thank you guys so much for listening. Sorry we got no Drew this week, but maybe next week. We'll see. Either way, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
You could stick a whole ribeye in one of your back pockets. Like,